October 18, 2025. The air in Washington, D.C. is thick with anticipation and purpose. Today marks a turning point, a day that will be remembered in the history books as the moment when citizens from every walk of life came together to demand a future shaped by the will of the people. Washington, D.C. is alive with the No Kings protest, a massive, unified demonstration for democracy. The city's streets pulse with energy as tens of thousands, dressed in yellow, fill the avenues, their voices rising in unison. Over 100,000 people have converged on Pennsylvania Avenue and the National Mall, transforming these iconic spaces into a sea of hope and determination. The sheer scale of the gathering is breathtaking, a testament to the power of collective action. They are joined by millions more in over 2,500 sister protests nationwide. From small towns to major cities, Americans are stepping out of their homes and into the streets, united by a common cause. The movement's reach is global, inspiring people far beyond U.S. borders. The world is watching as the call for democracy echoes across continents. Solidarity rallies have sprung up in cities like Berlin, Madrid, and Rome, where crowds gather in support of the American movement and the universal ideals of freedom and self-governance. The crowd is a vibrant mix: families, students, veterans, workers, all marching together in a show of unity and resolve. Generations stand side by side, their differences set aside for a shared vision of a just and accountable government. The march's route passes iconic landmarks, weaving through the heart of the nation's capital. Each step is a reminder of the country's founding promise and the ongoing struggle to uphold it. These monuments stand as a visual reminder that power belongs to the people, not any one leader. The message is unmistakable. Democracy is built and defended by its citizens. Months of planning, organizing, and growing discontent have led to this moment. Volunteers and activists have worked tirelessly behind the scenes, channeling frustration into action. This demonstration follows a similar mass protest in June, but today's turnout is even larger, fueled by a sense of urgency and a belief that change is possible. The momentum is only building as more and more people join the movement. What began as a spark has become a wildfire of civic engagement. Concerns about democracy are becoming more urgent, with citizens demanding transparency, accountability, and a government that truly represents them. Today's event is a critical moment, a declaration that Americans are watching, engaged, and unwilling to stand by as their democracy is challenged. The energy is electric, the sense of purpose unmistakable. Chants and songs echo through the city, uniting strangers in a chorus of hope and defiance. The sound carries for blocks, a living heartbeat of the movement. This is more than a protest. It's a national call to action. People are not just demanding change, they are embodying it, showing what democracy looks like in action. The world is watching as Americans stand up for their values. International media capture every moment, broadcasting the message of resistance and hope. The No Kings protest is a powerful reminder. Democracy is not a spectator sport. It demands participation, vigilance, and courage from everyone. The people are here, and their message is clear: they will not be silenced, and they will not back down. The foundations of democracy are being defended in the streets of D.C. today, as a new chapter in the American story is written by the hands and voices of its people. The No Kings protest is about one thing: rejecting the idea that any president can rule like a king. This movement is rooted in a deep belief that the United States was founded to break away from monarchy, and that no leader, no matter how powerful, should ever be above the people or the law. The crowd gathered here today is united by a shared conviction: democracy must be protected from those who would undermine it. Protesters are here to defend the core principles of American democracy. No one is above the law. They believe that accountability is not just a political talking point, but the very foundation of a free society. Marchers from all walks of life have come together, determined to make their voices heard, and to remind the nation that the rule of law applies to everyone, including those in the highest office. The movement is a direct response to what many see as rising authoritarianism under President Trump. Protesters worry that unchecked power threatens the democratic norms that have guided the country for generations. They see the warning signs: attacks on institutions, disregard for constitutional limits, and a growing sense that the presidency is being used for personal gain. Protesters cite attacks on free speech, attempts to influence elections, and sweeping immigration policies as threats to democracy. They are alarmed by efforts to silence dissent, restrict voting rights, and target vulnerable communities. For many, these issues are not abstract. They affect real people, families, and the future of the nation. There's deep concern over restrictions on the press and retribution against political opponents. Protesters believe a free press is essential to holding leaders accountable, and that democracy cannot survive if journalists are threatened or silenced. They march to defend the right to speak truth to power, and to ensure that political differences are not met with intimidation or punishment. The founders built checks and balances for a reason. This protest is about preserving that system. Protesters are calling for Congress, the courts, and the people themselves to stand up and defend the separation of powers. They know that democracy is fragile, and that it requires constant vigilance and participation to survive. The No Kings movement is a grassroots stand for the republic. It's powered by ordinary citizens, students, parents, workers, and retirees who believe that their voices matter. They organize, volunteer, and show up, proving that democracy is not just an idea, but a living, breathing practice. As Leah Greenberg said, "There is nothing more American than saying we don't have kings and exercising our right to peaceful protest." Her words echo through the crowd, inspiring hope and determination. The right to assemble, to speak out, and to demand better from our leaders is at the heart of what it means to be American. Today's march is a statement. Americans value their democracy and will fight to protect it. The energy in the streets is a reminder that the struggle for freedom and justice is ongoing, and that every generation must rise to meet the challenges of its time. The spirit of protest is alive and well. It's visible in every chant, every sign, and every determined face. This is a movement fueled by hope, resilience, and a belief in the power of collective action. This is what democracy looks like: a diverse, passionate, and united people standing up for their rights and for the future of their country. Look across the crowds. Yellow is everywhere. Protesters wear yellow as a symbol of hope and unity, chosen to represent optimism and a brighter democratic future. The color isn't just for today, it's meant to be an enduring symbol of the movement's goals. Yellow signals that this is a march for something positive, a better, more inclusive future. The sea of yellow creates a sense of solidarity and collective strength. Protesters carry yellow signs, wave yellow flags, and tie yellow ribbons, amplifying the movement's message. In Los Angeles, a giant yellow balloon of President Trump as a baby adds satire to the symbolism. The color frames the protest as constructive, not just angry. Yellow invites others to join a hopeful cause. The movement wants to inspire, not just resist. The color unites a diverse coalition under a single memorable banner. Yellow is now the color of democracy in action. The No Kings protest is powered by a coalition of over 100 organizations and major labor unions. Indivisible, co-led by Leah Greenberg, has played a central role in mobilizing activists nationwide. The speaker lineup in D.C. is impressive: Senator Bernie Sanders, Senator Chris Murphy, Bill Nye, and journalist Mehdi Hasan. Their presence shows the movement's concerns are being heard at the highest levels. The inclusion of scientists and journalists highlights the protest's commitment to truth and a free press. Public support from leaders like Chuck Schumer, Gavin Newsom, and Kamala Harris amplifies the message. This is not a fringe movement. It's a mainstream call for accountability. The No Kings protest is a united front for democracy. The No Kings protest has ignited passionate responses across the political spectrum, drawing attention from citizens, politicians, and media outlets nationwide. Supporters see it as a patriotic defense of the Constitution and a vital exercise of First Amendment rights. For them, gathering in the nation's capital is not just a protest, but a reaffirmation of core American values: freedom of speech, assembly, and the right to challenge authority. Senator Sanders says, "We're not going to let Trump or anybody else take our democracy away." His words echo the sentiments of many who believe that democracy must be actively protected, not taken for granted. For many, this is part of a proud tradition of grassroots activism. They draw inspiration from past movements that shaped the nation, seeing themselves as the next link in a long chain of Americans fighting for justice and equality. Opponents, including President Trump and Speaker Mike Johnson, label the protest a Hate America rally, trying to discredit it by associating it with extremism. They argue that such demonstrations threaten national unity and undermine respect for American institutions. Critics use terms like Antifa and Marxist to stoke fear and dismiss legitimate concerns. By invoking these labels, they hope to shift public opinion and paint the movement as dangerous or un-American. The protest's reception reveals a deeply polarized nation, where even the meaning of patriotism is hotly contested. Where some see a defense of democracy, others see an attack on America. The same event is interpreted in radically different ways, depending on one's beliefs and political loyalties. The divide is stark, with little room for common ground. Conversations often devolve into shouting matches, and compromise seems elusive. The protest is a mirror of the country's political tensions, reflecting the anger, hope, and uncertainty that define this moment in American history. But for those marching, the message is clear: democracy is worth defending, no matter the obstacles or opposition they face. The government's response to the No Kings protest is significant. Police line the streets, and the National Guard is on standby, activated by governors in Virginia and Texas. Supporters of the deployment say it's necessary for safety. Critics see it as intimidation. The heavy security presence is a reminder of the tense political climate. For many protesters, the sight of troops is a symbol of the very authoritarianism they oppose. The government's actions have become part of the protest's story. The response is both a precaution and a provocation. Today, the balance between security and civil liberties is on full display. The No Kings protest has transformed daily life in D.C. Major roads are closed, traffic is snarled, and public transit is packed. Businesses are affected, some close, others see a surge in customers. The city is on high alert, routines upended for this massive expression of democracy. The disruptions are a visible sign of active civic participation. For marchers, these inconveniences are a small price for the chance to be heard. Democracy, after all, is meant to be lived in the streets. The protest route is steeped in symbolism. Marchers gather on Jefferson Drive, cross the National Mall, and pass monuments and federal buildings. The sea of yellow is a moving statement, visible from all sides. The march ends at the National Archives, home to the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. By finishing here, protesters lay their grievances at the feet of America's founding documents. The route transforms the protest into political theater, reinforcing the movement's message. Every step is a reminder of the nation's democratic ideals. The path itself becomes a silent speaker for democracy. Today, history is being made on the streets of D.C. As the protest winds down, the question is, what's next? Organizers see today as the start of a sustained campaign: voter drives, advocacy, and holding officials accountable. The real impact will be measured by what happens after the march. In a polarized era, millions assembling peacefully is a powerful statement. The protest reaffirms that dissent is essential to democracy. The No Kings movement is building a network for future action: elections, legislation, and community organizing. It's forcing a national debate about presidential power and democracy's meaning. The legacy will be written by what comes next. Today's march is a declaration: democracy is a responsibility, not a gift. The future belongs to those willing to stand up and be counted.